Dennis Welch with CBS 5 and 3 TV. Simple question. We're 2 weeks away from. Got a lot of fans here, as you can hear.
Just one. I just heard one. Yeah. It's okay. Go ahead, Dennis.
We'll end with this question. The election is 2 weeks from today. I'm not going to be asking you about 4 years ago, but from what you've seen, from what you've learned, are you confident in the Arizona election system, and are you going to accept the results moving forward?
Well, look, I think that we're in a better place than we were in 2020. And I think that what we're going to keep on working on over the next couple of weeks, I mean, you saw this even in 2022, where some of the voting machines in Maricopa went down on Election Day. Now, whether you think that was just incompetence or something else, it's not okay. We want every legal ballot to be cast and to be counted in the United States of America. So we're going to keep on fighting for election integrity. But look, Dennis, sitting here today, are we going to get this perfect? Of course we're not going to get it perfect, but we're doing a hell of a lot better in 2024 than we were in 2020. So the best message that I can give is to get out there and vote through whatever method makes the most sense. And look, I'm one of these guys, I don't love election season. I like election day, but as President Trump said, it is what it is. And if we're going to have early voting and mail-in voting and election day voting, then we need to take advantage of every opportunity we have to vote. Get out there and make your voices heard. And yes, I think we're going to have a good election in Arizona in 2024. Let me, if I can, offer just one final thought here, and then we're going to have to hit the road, unfortunately. I want you, I'll be back, don't worry. You'll get sick of me over the next 2 weeks. Look, I want you to think of really what this election is about. And I think those of us who care a lot about politics, you know, sometimes it's red jerseys versus blue jerseys. We really want to beat the Democrats. And, of course, we do really want to beat the Democrats. And it's going to be very fun to beat Kamala Harris on November the 5th. Trust me, I'm going to be as happy as anybody. But the goal here is to beat the Democrats in the service of solving the country's problems that have been caused by years of Kamala Harris's broken leadership, not just as vice president, but over many, many years. I think she keeps on making bad decisions for the American people, and we want to take away her ability to do that. We want to get to a point where Kamala Harris's bad decisions is something she can deal with, not that 330 million of our fellow citizens have to deal with, right? That's what the election is all about. But let me give you just a couple of examples of what happens when our leadership is not doing a good job. So the first is, I met a woman when I was campaigning a few weeks back, and she's a retiree, and her husband is about to be a retiree, but he's still got a couple years left in his working life, and they're raising their grandchildren. Their grandparents are raising their grandchildren because their daughter died of a fentanyl overdose. And they were telling me about a ritual, and these are the family rituals that make life worth living, that for 40 years, in good times and bad, they would do steak night on Friday night. And that was their thing. And I'm not talking about going to a fancy steakhouse. I'm talking about going to a grocery store and buying a nice steak and grilling it out, and they did it every Friday. They stopped doing it about a year ago because under Kamala Harris's rising grocery prices, they just can't afford anymore with their grandkids that they're raising. They couldn't afford to do steak night anymore. And think about what it means for a family to sacrifice a little ritual like that after 40 years of doing it, and then to be deprived of that thing. These are the things that actually make our life worth living. And one of the things that we're trying to do is build an economy that is prosperous enough where if you work hard and play by the rules, you can enjoy to have steak night on a Friday night. That's what we want for every single one of our citizens. Now, I know very personally, actually, because I grew up in a family, again, that didn't always have a whole lot of money. And I know this is maybe not as big of an issue in Arizona as it is in Ohio. But I remember when it got really cold and money was especially tight, my grandmother would sometimes say, you know what, we're going to throw a few extra blankets on the bed. We're not going to turn on the heating tonight because we can't afford it. And I think that in a country with as unlimited the energy resources that we have, we ought to fight for the right of every citizen. So again, so long as they work hard and play by the rules, every single one of our citizens should be able to heat their home in the middle of a cold winter night. But that has gotten harder. That's gotten harder because energy prices are 45% higher than they were 3.5 years ago because Kamala Harris has gone to war on the American energy sector. So when we go out there for the next 2 weeks, as we're getting our friends to vote, as we're helping our friends get to the polls, as we're talking to people about why we want to make Donald Trump the next president of the United States, just remember, we're out there every single day fighting for the right of our citizens to have steak night on a Friday night. We're fighting for the right of our citizens to be able to turn on the heating in the middle of a cold winter night. We are fighting for peace and prosperity for the American people, and that's why we're getting out there and making Donald Trump the next president of the United States. Let's do it together, my friends. We got 2 weeks to go. Let's make it happen. God bless you.